Okay, boys and girls, let's check answer for question 7a. So we have a proton move with a speed. We need to sketch the magnetic field and the path of the proton when magnetic field B is pointing into the page. So how I'm going to represent the magnetic field pointing into the page? We will draw cross. Okay. This cross will represent our B is pointing into the page. Okay. So showing that this is the regions of the magnetic field. So we have a proton move with a velocity v entering this magnetic field pointing into the page. So I draw it here. So we start here. So the direction of velocity is to the right. So we apply our right hand rules. We understood that when the proton enter the magnetic field, it experience magnetic force. So we determine the direction of magnetic force in order to sketch the path of the proton. So our thumb point to the right, align with the directions of V. So our fingers pointing into the page, showing that our B is pointing into the page. So we will see obviously our palm face is upwards. Our palm is facing upwards, so the directions of B is pointing upwards. So due to the action of this magnetic force, now the motion of proton will be bent upwards. It will be bent upwards. So at these particular positions, the direction of velocity will be upwards. So again, we apply our right hand rules. So now our thumb aligned with the direction of V is pointing upwards. Our fingers is still pointing into the page, showing that our B is into the page. So now we will find out that our palm will be facing to the left. So our direction of FB is to the left. So now the proton will continue the motion leftward. So at this particular position, the direction of velocity is to the left. So apply right hand rules, we find out that the magnetic force is downwards. So now the motion will be bent downwards, and this position the velocity is downwards. So apply right hand rules again, the magnetic force will now pointing to the right. So the motion will continue to the rightwards directions. So finally you will see obviously our proton will move in a circular path anti-clockwise. So this one will be the sketching for our question 7a number 1. Question 7a number 1. Okay. Then we check the answer for question 7a number 2. How about if the proton is now enter a magnetic field that point out of the page? So how you are going to tell people your magnetic field is pointing out of the page? We are going to draw the dot. Okay, this dot will represent our magnetic field is pointing out of the page. So the proton enter the magnetic field region. So again, we use our right hand rules to determine the direction of the magnetic force in order to draw the path of the motions. So our thumb is point to the right. The fingers now is all point out of the page. So we can see obviously our palm now is facing downwards. So the magnetic force is downward. So now the motion will be curved down. And at these particular positions, when we apply our right hand rules, we find out that the magnetic force is pointing to the left. So now the motion will be bent leftwards. At these positions, apply right hand rules, our magnetic force is pointing upwards. So the motion of charge will change upwards. Then apply again the right hand rules. You find out that at these positions, the magnetic force is pointing to the right. So it will bend rightward. So we will find out that when the proton move into a magnetic field which is pointing out of the page, it will move in a clockwise circle. It will move in a clockwise circle. Okay, so this is the sketching for question 7a number 2. So remember, we always identify the directions of B in order to sketch the path of the motion for the charged particle that move in magnetic field. Remember, as the charged particle move in magnetic move into the magnetic field perpendicularly, they will perform circular motion.